The atmosphere surrounding the passing of veteran actor Lee Soon-jae has gripped South Korea in a collective silence, but among all those who mourned him, one figure drew an especially deep emotional reaction: actress Youn Yuh-jung. As one of the few artists who truly understood the lifetime of struggles, discipline, and sacrifices behind Lee Soon-jae's monumental career, her quiet appearance at his funeral became one of the most talked about and profoundly moving moments of the week. She walked into the mourning hall without a single word, dressed in black, her posture straight, but her expression weighed down by layers of grief that no camera could fully capture. In her hand, she held a small white envelope, one that the public would soon obsess over, desperate to know what amount she had included as her condolence offering. Yet anyone who witnessed her silent, trembling eyes would recognize instantly that the value of that envelope could never be measured in numbers alone. Reporters on site described a scene that left even hardened journalists momentarily still. When Youn Yuh-jung stepped into the memorial room, the room's tone shifted. She stood before Lee Soon-jae's portrait for a long time, closing her eyes as though gathering all the scattered memories of their decades-long companionship. These were not fleeting industry exchanges, but chapters of a shared artistic life: the long nights filming in freezing studios before the era of modern comforts, the candid moments behind stage curtains when both of them wondered if they had chosen the right path, the mutual respect exchanged through nothing more than a nod in rehearsal rooms, and the profound understanding only veteran performers can have for one another. Those who saw her said her shoulders quivered slightly as she bowed, and that even without tears falling, the sorrow in her expression was sharp enough to cut through the air. For years, Youn Yuh-jung had spoken of Lee Soon-jae not merely as a senior actor, but as a compass, an artist who never once let go of his principles, who treated every line, every breath in front of the camera as sacred. She once remarked, "He was the kind of actor who made every opportunity meaningful. Even the smallest scene came alive in his hands." These words were more than a compliment. They were the testimony of someone who had lived the same hard road, who understood that greatness is not born from fortune, but from relentless dedication. When news of his passing broke, she reportedly canceled all private schedules, choosing instead to visit quietly, away from attention, away from spotlights, simply as a person grieving another person. Yet, as often happens in the modern entertainment world, the media's focus quickly shifted to the envelope she carried. What was the amount? Why did she hold it so tightly? Why did she arrive alone? Some outlets even attempted to zoom in on photos, hoping to identify faint marks on the envelope that might hint at its value. Clickbait videos circulated with captions like, "Tap to reveal the truth about Youn Yuh-jung's condolence money." But those who understood the cultural and emotional weight behind such gestures knew these attempts entirely missed the point. The envelope contained money, yes, but for Youn Yuh-jung, it also carried memories of a shared past, gratitude for unspoken mentorship, and the final farewell of someone who had carved out a path before her. What she offered was not currency, but respect, not a sum, but a lifetime of acknowledgement. Her career, too, explains why this moment struck such a chord. Youn Yuh-jung is not merely a respected actress, she is a testament to survival. Born just before the Korean War, fleeing south with her family, navigating societal expectations, enduring a painful marriage, working menial jobs in America to raise two sons alone, and later returning to Korea where divorced women in entertainment faced harsh prejudice. Her life was built through hardship that demanded resilience. She rose again from the bottom, taking small roles, then supporting roles, and then reclaiming her position as one of Korea's most formidable actresses. Her realism, her unapologetically raw performances, and her refusal to act from comfort shaped her into an artist admired by filmmakers worldwide. And when she finally won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for Minari, becoming the first Korean actor in history to do so, she stood on the world stage not simply as a performer, but as the embodiment of perseverance. It is this long, painful, unsentimental journey that made her bond with Lee Soon-jae so exceptional. They belonged to a generation where acting meant memorizing lines in unheated theaters, traveling to remote shooting locations in battered trucks, and performing not for fame, but for survival. Their respect for each other came from living through times when the film industry was unstable, incomes unpredictable, and artistic dreams often shattered by circumstances beyond one's control. To her, Lee Soon-jae was not only a senior she admired, but a comrade in a battlefield of art, a man who carried himself with dignity even when the world around him changed beyond recognition. Lee Soon-jae himself represented an irreplaceable pillar of Korean culture. Born in 1934, surviving the Japanese occupation and the Korean War, later entering Seoul National University's philosophy department, he carried both intellectual depth and emotional complexity into every performance. His career spanned nearly 70 years across theater, film, and television. His voice, his diction, and his commanding presence turned him into a living institution. Even during hospital stays, he reportedly memorized scripts for upcoming projects, refusing to let age diminish his sense of duty as an actor. Awarded the Silver Order of Cultural Merit in his lifetime and the Gold Order posthumously, he left behind not only roles, but an entire philosophy about what it means to perform with integrity. So when Youn Yuh-jung stood before his portrait, envelope in hand, the moment was not simply one actor paying respects to another, it was one era bowing to another. It was a farewell grounded in everything they had both endured. The envelope she placed down carried no public explanation, no announcement, no theatrics. It carried sincerity, grief, and the overwhelming weight of losing someone whose presence shaped her artistic path. The media may speculate endlessly about its contents, but the truth is that the monetary amount is irrelevant. What mattered was that inside that envelope were feelings impossible to quantify, memories of the past, acknowledgement of legacy, and gratitude for a lifetime of artistry that inspired an entire nation. After leaving the funeral, Youn Yuh-jung said nothing to reporters. She didn't need to. Her silence spoke with more depth than any statement could. It reflected the kind of relationship built not through headlines, but through shared history, through admiration, and through the loneliness that only true artists understand. Lee Soon-jae's passing leaves a void no one can fill, yet his influence remains in every actor he inspired, every audience member he touched, and every moment of truth he delivered on screen. As Korea continues to mourn the loss of a legend, the image of Youn Yuh-jung standing quietly at his side for the last time serves as a reminder of what true respect looks like. It is not loud, not dramatic, not performative. It is humble, genuine, and deeply human. And in that single envelope, no matter what amount it contained, lay the purest form of farewell an artist can offer another. Lee Soon-jae may have left the stage, but his presence will echo across generations. And through the quiet grief of Youn Yuh-jung, we are reminded once more that the greatest legacies are not measured in awards or fame, but in the hearts of those who truly understood the life behind the performance. The ripples of Youn Yuh-jung's appearance at the funeral continued long after she left the hall. Many mourners who witnessed the moment said they felt an undescribable scribbleness in the room, as if a chapter of Korean cultural history had quietly closed before their eyes. Some younger actors who grew up watching both of them expressed that seeing Youn Yuh-jung so deeply shaken made them realize the magnitude of what had been lost. It wasn't simply the death of a legendary actor. It was the passing of a generation that built Korean cinema from the ground up, brick by brick, in an era when resources were lacking, recognition was scarce, and the notion of global acclaim was nothing more than a distant dream. For these younger performers, the sight of Youn Yuh-jung bowing her head, clutching the envelope in both hands, felt like a visual reminder that their craft is upheld by the sacrifices of those before them, artists who endured hardship without complaint so that the next generation could stand on a stronger foundation. In the days following the funeral, discussions across film circles and academic communities grew more philosophical. Critics, historians, and actors alike reflected on the relationship between Youn Yuh-jung and Lee Soon-jae, examining how their parallel journeys encapsulate